Let me tell you what the number one problem with capitalism is. You have to make a certain amount of money to survive in America now. The corporations and the business owners have everything locked up in America now. You know, I'm not talking about the person that owns a house trying to sell a house. They have corporations who buy 10,000 houses at a time now. They buy 30,000 apartments at a time now. America's been for sale for a very long time. And they come from foreign countries like China, India, Saudi Arabia. And then they come in, like they go into places like Florida and buy 25,000 apartments, renovate them, triple the rent. Okay, look at the automobile industry. They have $98,000 pickups. My dad spent $2,500 for a truck in 1970, and it lasted him 18 years. 18 years. So the main problem with capitalism today is when the basics become more than the wages. They said that you need $109,000 for a family now to survive in America. That's to buy a house, get a car payment, and two people get a job, unless, you know, you're a doctor, or a lawyer, or an overworked nurse working double shifts all the time. Do you know anyone who makes $9,000 a month? No, you don't, do you? You don't know anyone, not unless they own, 20 or 30 apartments. You don't know anyone who makes $10,000 a month, $120,000 a year. And that's the problem with capitalism today. You can't afford it. You know that 70% or 80% of the people are behind on their student loans now, and they're going to start garnishing their wages in like 1 month. We are headed for a collapse amongst everybody under 30 years old. These people, they're buying, these young people are somehow getting a house, and they're saying the worst mistake I ever made. They're trying to get out and sell as fast as they can. They're saying the house costs twice as much as they were told it would cost. Now, here's the main problem with capitalism. Everybody's food went up 50% minimum in 5 years. And that's your lowest, cheapest expense. It's kind of like the fuel tank here. If your fuel tank's on empty, if your paycheck doesn't cover the basics in America. I'm not talking about the things that, you want to do. The average family of 4 or 5 now makes about $77,000 a year. Husband and wife working. We have an entire generation from 30 years old, or actually 35 and lower. How are they supposed to afford? An apartment in a city costs $1,500. A house costs $2,700. Groceries for a single person are going to be $600-700. A car payment is anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a month. In a big city, a person barely brings home $4,000. There's all their money. It's gone. I've never made $4,000 in my lifetime, me and my wife combined. But I've never lived in a big city that required it. Here's the problem with capitalism. It's broken, and it's not going to be fixed, and this is the problem with the future. Capitalism is 110% broke, And it's not coming back to the way it used to be. Capitalism was the best in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, and halfway through the 80s, and then it started crashing. And it's been crashing ever since. Since like 1986, there's never been a time where people could all of a sudden make more than it costs to live. You know, it's funny when I hear young people say, oh, the good old days of 2010. Those weren't the good old days. The good old days were like 1975. When you made double, even though you got paid low, it was twice as much as you needed to survive and buy a house and a car payment. You know, you can't find a car that runs good now for under $8,000, a used car. I mean, they got a lot of junk for sale, but it's all falling apart. You buy a $4,000 car, you're going to have to put $4,000 into it in a couple of years just to keep it running. I know a lot about this stuff. I look at it all the time for the last 50 years. So let me summarize. Capitalism used to be the American dream. If you worked, you could afford a house, a car payment. You didn't have credit cards when I was growing up. Nobody had credit cards except rich people. A house, a car payment, you could buy some used furniture, you work on your own house, you mow your own lawn, you go to work 40 hours a week. There was no such thing as health care. That's the biggest scam in the world. You go to the doctor in 1970 and it was, $18 for a visit. You didn't need health care. They got health care so screwed up now, some people are paying $2,000 a month for health care. And now Donald Trump's going to get rid of Obamacare as fast as he can. He's doing it right now. He's ripping it apart, piece by piece. What are we going to do? Start turning people away from hospitals? Is that what we're really going to start doing? Are we going to stop food stamps? Are we really going to let people starve in the streets? Are we really going to not fix the homeless crisis? I remember Donald Trump saying, and I like Donald Trump, so don't get me wrong. I remember Donald Trump saying his first 4 years, if you elect me, I will have that homeless problem solved in Los Angeles in one day, he said. That's a quote. He said it'd be solved in one day. He tried it. They didn't listen to him. He's never talked about it again. He has no will to solve homelessness. Now, here's the problem with capitalism. The average person makes $20 an hour. You bring home $600 a week after everything, your insurance, your union dues, everything. That's $35,000 a year. And if your wife also works, the exact same as you got $70,000 a year. But if one of you only work part-time, you only have $60,000 a year. That's really what middle class, most of middle class is about $60,000 a year. That's $1,200 a week before taxes, so you bring home $50,000. You have $4,000 a month. Your house payment today is $2,800 a month. Your car payment is $700 a month. You're broke before you eat. Pay the electric, the water, the sewer, the roof, the home insurance, the escrow account. So the bankers and the corporations and the government have been raising things so fast to keep the economy going so great, and they've been so greedy, all three of them. Now listen, I'm going to say this and I'm going to end this video. Less than 40% of people alive in America today can afford the American dream. 60% of Americans can no longer afford capitalism, or what they call the American dream. They can't do it. They can't do it. The prices are too high. Capitalism has broke itself.